We are back here on the Bernie and Sid Show on 77 WABC. And check out who just walked in the studio. Check it out.
Gentlemen, I'll tell you, it's intimidating to walk in with you two guys.
Why is that? Patrick McEnroe is in the house.
I mean, the mental intelligence is one thing, but the physical presence.
Well, we could beat you up.
Holy mackerel.
We will kick your ass.
I'm well aware of that.
Mental intelligence.
I do remember that you kicked Sid's ass at one point, too.
Right. That did happen. That was a long time ago.
You needed me in your corner there.
I did need you.
You needed me to help you out there.
Said I had Teddy Atlas and Joe Tacopino. What was I
Throw
thinking?
in the white flag. You know what I'm saying?
You needed, right. You
needed a tennis racket. That's what you needed.
That
would have helped.
He needed a nurse is what he needed, really.
Quickly.
But Patrick McEnroe's here.
Good to see you guys.
Listen, man, you look good. You look like Dana Carvey.
A little bit.
Right?
I see that. A little bit.
I wish I had his bank account, but I appreciate that. I think.
I can see that, yeah. But you look
do
good.
some
You're dressed nice. You got a nice sweater on today.
I mean, come on with Bernie and Sid. I mean, the hottest new show in radio. I got to get it together.
Well, you're not going to need that outfit, by the way, next Thursday when you go to Australia.
You're heading down. Love that trip. My favorite. Don't tell anybody at the U.S. Open. But
it's
my
your
favorite Grand Slam.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's
better
amazing.
than Roland Garros or Wimbledon.
Wimbledon's Wimbledon, but I mean, French Open is great, but Australia, first of all, getting out of the winter is amazing.
It's hot there now, right?
It's middle of summer. It can be brutally hot, but normally it's just nice summer conditions. But Melbourne as a city, a relatively small city compared to Paris, New York, obviously London. So very easy to get back and forth to the site. 10-minute walk across a nice little bridge from downtown Melbourne. 3 retractable roofs at the tennis facility there.
Oh, wow. Obviously, we're talking about the Australian Open
tennis event. Yeah, I'm leaving in a week from today. I leave.
Covering it for
ESPN.
With your brother John.
My brother will be there, yep.
You guys are great together, by the way.
I appreciate
it took them a while to come to
figure that out.
Yeah. But you guys are fantastic. So.
Together, you're great.
Now, let me ask you this, though. When you do fly to Australia, it's like a 29-hour flight or something.
It's like, you fly to L.A., and then you get on a flight leaving L.A. late at night.
Right.
And it's about 13 and a half hours from L.A. to Melbourne.
So it's like 20 hours. It's 6 to L.A. and 13.
And it's rougher coming back, too, because you get the jet lag coming back is brutal. But getting there, you get there, it's morning, it's the middle of summer, you're pumped up, it's a new year, everybody's in a good mood down there.
Yeah. But my question is this, do you fly first class?
A business class, which is not pretty good. You can sleep. You can go flat.
That's the most crucial part about it. If you can sleep during the flight, you're good to go. And you have to lie flat. If it's not flat,
it's not happening.
It ain't fat.
I haven't. No, that's a good point.
Now, do you know? I don't know if you know this, and I don't want to put a damper or piss on your parade because I wish I was going to Australia with you. But I couldn't believe when I heard this last week that they actually thwarted around New Year's a huge attack by ISIS in Melbourne. Did you hear that?
He's trying to scare you.
Yeah.
No.
You had to mention that?
That's a true story.
Yeah. Well, they had that major attack there in Sydney a couple of years ago. Remember in the coffee shop
I hate
down
Sydney.
there.
I hate Sydney with a vengeance. I don't mean the city.
Right.
I understand.
I'm just kidding.
No, but they had a big attack in Sydney. Now, Melbourne they thwarted the attack a couple of weeks ago.
Well, they've got some issues there, like everybody has, obviously, all over the world. But it's
you're not nervous and walking up? No.
I mean, you could be nervous. I just took the subway from the Bronx down here. What am I going to be nervous
exactly.
about? I'm running around trying to get here on time. changing trains. I mean, I'm like, I got to get to Bernie and Sid by 10:37.
Right, they're nervous. I mean, come on. Look, the odds. Actually, Mike Bloomberg pointed this out once. You're more likely to get struck by lightning than be a victim of a terror attack. I mean if you put it in perspective like that.
We know we got to keep doing what we do, and we got to hope that our president-elect will protect us and the rest of the world, and the Australians will as well. And but it is a nice trip because you get there. It's summertime. I always try to stay awake on the flight from here to L.A.
Right.
And then you get to L.A. and it leaves about 10 p.m. L.A. time, which is 1 in the morning our time. So you're getting a little bit tired. Sleep about 8-9 hours. Wake up. You got 4 or 5 hours to go. Watch a couple of movies, and bingo, you're there.
What kind of movies?
Well, we'll leave that to another day.
You can't. Do they even have like porn? It's not because the plane is public. You can't do that, right?
They have some R-rated movies, I think, but I mean, I think you can download certain things.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there are ways.
That's what you're talking about.
We have ways.
Yeah, no, Bernie's a big Bernie loves his tennis. His wife comes every year. She texts me her tickets for the Open.
My wife is a diehard,
absolutely
diehard freak tennis fan. Patrick has hooked us up many times,
and
very generously.
And my daughter Ava, who plays like his daughter Victoria, who hopefully we're going to get into his brother and him. They're a great complex on Randall's Island. She plays all the time, and Pat has also sent us and Ava to go see the U.S. Open from the box, which is great. And by the way, Serena just got engaged, right? So we're going to see a different Serena this next week in Australia.
I don't know about different, but she lost actually in one of the warm-up tournaments in Auckland, New Zealand, which is in very windy conditions. So she complained that she didn't handle the wind very well. But I think what she's been able to do she's now in her mid-30s and dominate tennis at this age has been amazing. I don't think she's going to be able to continue to do it just because it's inevitable it's going to catch up to her, but I think she certainly can still win another major or two this year.
Especially now that she's married. It seems like she's thrown in the towel. And said,
not that she needs the money, but she's marrying well.
Yeah.
And so is he.
Oh, yeah. The guy,
so is he. He's the guy he started Reddit?
He started Reddit. The CEO of Reddit, right. He's a gazillionaire, this guy. And it shocked everybody. He's a nerd. People thought she was going to hook up with Drake or somebody like that, one of these rapper types. Right. And this guy makes Patrick McEnroe seem like,
like I'm hip and happening?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I mean, she's marrying this Mark Zuckerberg like dweeb.
Oh, my God. I mean, you're tough, man. I mean, you are
but God bless it.
I mean, I'm really glad I came.
I'm sure the money.
Really glad I came.
The money's not a factor. No. Hey, listen, but look, speaking of tennis, in the men's division, like the women's division is always good because there's always some attractive woman. It doesn't matter what country she comes from. But in the men's division, it's really, from a tennis fan's perspective, there's no excitement with the guys.
Roger Federer's not exciting enough for you? Rafael Nadal?
Really
Novak
boring.
Djokovic?
No.
Not excited. What about Andy Murray, number one?
But you just did it. You just named the four guys: Djokovic, Murray, Federer, and Nadal, which is great. But after that, you'll be hard pressed to find even an ardent supporter like Bernard to find a name number 5.
How about Dominic Thiem? You know him?
Yeah, sure. I was just reading.
You're not a big fan? No.
Yeah. It's very top heavy with the four guys. It's been that way for a decade.
It's been that way for Del Potro, is a guy from Argentina who's been there, but he's been injured. There's other guys.
Silic is a nice player.
There's other players starting to come up now. Some younger guys, and the good news is that for American tennis, because for many years, I was the Davis Cup captain for the U.S. for 10 years. In fact, that's the impetus that got me fired from the Imus show. You remember that, Bernard? You remember when Imus was giving me a hard time, wasn't letting me do my sports reports from out on the West Coast.
That's right.
And what happened? Did P-Mac take it? Did I take the abuse?
You took the abuse,
and then I said sayonara, right?
And you took the pink slip. Yeah.
No, but he did. To Patrick's credit, I believe didn't he kind of freak out and stomp out the last day and give Imus some hell?
I walked out. I think it was a little issue between me and Deirdre, which can happen, as Bernard probably knows. But we've since cleared things up over the years. Yeah, but there was a time there, as you know, Sid, you get on shaky terms with the I-Man, you know what happens then.
Well, old beefs have been squashed.
Me and Imus are like Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner. He's fired me 4 times. He keeps bringing me back. Well, now that you brought it up, Patrick, because I know you and Bernard have had this conversation before, the long, rich tradition and history of the Imus show here now on WABC, and all the great names that have done sports, right? From, Bernard, from Don Crickey to Mike Francesa.
Mike Breen. Sure.
Yeah,
where is Patrick McEnroe on the list of all time?
I mean, my stint was relatively short.
By the way, Marv Albert, let me throw Marv Albert, who preceded our time there. Marv Albert used to do sports on the Imus Morning Show.
Is that right?
Back in the 70s.
What about the Mad Dog? Didn't the Mad Dog do something?
He did for a little while, Mad Dog Russo.
And then there was Chris Carlin. That was short.
Every time I got fired, he replaced me.
Basically a footnote.
Right. But I was on at the same footnote. I was on at the same time as, of course, the great Warner Wolf.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So Warner's since retired.
I keep getting Warner Wolf fired. It's now twice I've gotten
you got him fired, right?
Twice.
I've seen that on Twitter, yeah.
Hey, listen, Patrick, you worked for ESPN for a time because you worked here on the 17th.
I worked for ESPN. Well, I worked for ESPN Tennis for a long time. But yes, I did
No, I mean radio.
Radio, that's correct.
But you don't do no longer?
If you can get me a job, I'm ready.
All right, let me ask you about big giant game coming up this Sunday.
doing a little studying on that early this morning, and I do not believe that the Giants are going to be able to win this game. I mean, they can win it, and everybody's talking about it's going to be another one of these runs, and they come in as a wild card. The defense is coming together. If you really look at it honestly, Sid, you'll see that it's actually the Packers are the team that have sort of done what the Giants had done previously. They were on a run. They won like 6, 7 in a row.
Yes.
6 in a row.
Rodgers is on fire.
They were 4 and 6.
Yes.
They're going to stop the Giant running game. The bottom line to me is going to come down to the quarterbacks. And obviously Eli, we know he's been able to do it in the playoffs before. But I just don't see it. I don't think the Giants are that good on offense. I mean, obviously their offense has struggled this year. They basically played a defensive type of game.
Yes.
And I think Green Bay is going to score enough points and win it. Relatively close, similar to when they played in the regular season. It was like 23-16.
Yes.
It'll be 27-17.
They need
like
every edge they can get, and going down smoking crack with Johnny Manziel in Miami is not exactly
you don't recommend that?
Giving them that edge.
Probably not the best way to set things up.
You didn't tell the
Mr.
kids
Beckham.
out at Davis Cup if you want to really advance to the next level. Not a bad idea to go down to South Beach and get hammered.
I used to go down. I was down in Florida a lot. When I did my job for the USTA for about 8 years, we had a training center down in Boca, so I would go back and forth. And who was my guy down there?
Me,
the radio guy down there. Listening to him. I mean, he was the only guy I could listen to down in South Florida. And I'm like, when are we getting this guy back to New York?
Yeah.
And thank goodness, Bernard, you did it, baby.
Bernard
you got it done.
Well,
he did.
That's right.
He got it done.
But very glad to have him. Of course.
And when you were down there visiting all those times, you were doing the show on ESPN. And see, with a guy like you. And I'm not just saying this because you're on here. Bernie feels the same way. Very opinionated, very smart, and you know a lot of things about a lot of things, and opinionated about a lot of things. ESPN doesn't really allow you to be that way. In fact, I'm not talking about just firing Kurt Schilling all these times and all that stuff. So, did you ever feel restricted? Like, were you nervous that you couldn't go somewhere in a conversation because, Big Boss was watching?
No, I mean, I think that the only thing that I feel is that because I'm the tennis guy, or one of the tennis guys, I think that's been difficult for him to break out of that. That's why when I did my show here in New York, and I used to see you guys, I used to come in during the week and also had a regular show on the weekends.
Saturday morning was a great show.
No, and they just let me do my thing, and I think so. The short answer is no.
No,
I never felt that, but I do know what you mean. And the bigger the company gets, the more those kind of things happen.
Keep in mind that Patrick still works for ESPN.
Right.
So you can't be
exactly. I'm not going to be ripping. They've been employing me very nicely for about 20 years now.
Allow me then.
Right.
ESPN is owned by Disney, and they have these very strict rules. For example, the guys on the air, they're talking to a bunch of knuckle-dragging troglodyte sports fans.
Right.
And they beer drinking, guzzling, whatever. They can't even use the word ass.
You can't?
For example.
You can't say I'm not aware.
Did you say ass
I wouldn't say it anyway. I'm not that kind of person.
You didn't say kick
Bernard.
his ass? You didn't say that?
No, only with you guys.
Can you say penis?
Sure. I don't see why not.
All right. Did you use the word penis on your show?
I never did. No.
Did you use your penis? No. So anyway, so it's very restricted. That's what the word was when ESPN was here on the 17th floor.
Right.
That's what I heard from the guys, from the fellas. Obviously, you can't speak to it because you're still, handcuffed.
I could speak to it as I want.
Right.
I never dealt with that. But I'm not the kind of guy that would say those sorts of words
on
the public airwaves.
Forget about those words.
That's why you're not there anymore.
I know.
It may be.
They also frown on the political subjects where Kurt Schilling got into trouble. So, and I'm not going
to. But Kurt Schilling's crazy.
I know he is. But could you go on the air with me and Bernard, for example, and say, I love Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump. I think you can do that.
I could do that.
They won't frown on that.
I'm certainly not going to do that, but I could do that.
There you go. That was
right.
So you're expressing a political opinion right now. You're an anti-Trump guy.
I'm not anti-Trump
you're
at
gonna
all.
get fired.
I didn't vote for him, but I'm not anti-Trump. He's our president.
Right.
Okay. So I want to see him succeed.
It's me
too.
I
want to see him succeed. I want to see him do. I think there's some positive signs. I think there's some signs. Tweeting about Arnold Schwarzenegger. You could sort of do without your president doing that. But I mean, I get
that's
it.
what we love about
I mean, it's very entertaining.
Yes, it is,
and I know that you like that.
He's multitasking.
Yeah,
he's making America great again.
Right before he meets with the intelligence community.
He's settling scores and making America great again.
Right, and tweeting on New Year's Eve, "My enemies out there." I'm sure that JFK would have done that when he became president, if Twitter existed.
It's
at
a
that
new
point,
day.
Of course.
It's a new day.
So I guess we got to get used to it.
JFK was swimming nude in the pool, hosing secretaries.
Pardon me?
Oh.
That's right, he was. That's a fact.
No, it's true.
The things you can't say on ESPN Radio.
We're going to go through some laps now.
It's time to break. We're getting the break sign.
Patrick McEnroe, we're out of time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Always good to see you.
Patrick McEnroe will be doing the U.S. Open, the Australian Open on ESPN a week from
Sunday. It starts, which will be Monday in Australia.
He's great with his brother Patrick. Listen, Patrick,
John. But he's also back. I want to help him promote his brother's place on Randall's Island for young kids out there who want to play tennis, like my daughter
John
Ava.
McEnroe Tennis Academy.
Pat's there every week now. He's there.
Yep. I just started this week, so we're going to get Sydney's girl up there, and we're going to get her going.
Yo, it's a pleasure, my friend.
Good to see you guys.
Nice to see
Love
you
guys.
Yeah. Take it easy, my brother. Back on Bernie and Sid after this.
77 W.